Now, let us take a look at the different communication methods. Think for yourself, how do you communicate? You communicate verbally while talking to someone, written when you have to write a mail, or you use visuals while giving presentations. The same goes for businesses. Businesses opt for verbal communication while speaking to people directly, while using written communication to pass on letters, notices, and memos. Both of these includes the use of information technology. Visual communication method, on the other hand, involves the use of diagrams, charts, and videos, more often than not used in presentations or meetings to highlight a problem. Let us take a look at each of them in more details. First up, we have verbal communication. It is one that is used for a two-way communication. Telephones and video conferences are prime examples of it. Advantages include the quick pass of information, instant feedback, and in case of video, body language can be measured. However, in terms of the disadvantages, it gets difficult to know if everyone has understood or not during a meeting with many people. Moreover, feedback can make the conversation longer, and it isn't the most appropriate method for keeping records, as there aren't any written record. Next, we have written communication, which are used in case of business letters, memos, reports, and notices. Text messages, fax, emails, and communication over social networks can also be considered as written communication. It has a number of advantages, like it is a hard evidence for records. It is essential when dealing with complicated details. It is easy to send to many recipients, and electronic media is quick and less expensive to conduct. As for the disadvantages, direct feedback isn't always possible. It may also be difficult to know if the message has been received and acted upon. There may be language barriers as well, and lastly, there aren't any opportunity to measure body language. Lastly, we have visual communication methods. Films, videos, PowerPoint displays, posters, charts, diagrams, and photographs are all examples of visual communication methods. This method is very visually appealing and usually a precise form of communication. However, there isn't any scope of feedback, and charts and graphs could be difficult for some people to interpret. Now that we have learned the three different methods of communication, you might wonder which of the three is the best. The answer is quite simple. It depends. The most appropriate method depends on a number of factors, which are discussed next. First of all, we have speed. If it's important and there's a sense of urgency, then he or she should use fast methods like verbal. And then there's cost. Is it important to keep the costs down? If it is, then he or she can use a relatively cheaper method like emails. Message details. If the message is detailed, as we discussed earlier, written methods are most appropriate. Examples could be memos, emails, and letters. Leadership style. If the leader follows a democratic approach, then feedback is crucial. In this case, verbal communication or team meetings would be suitable as feedback can be easily shared. It also depends on the receiver. A lot depends on the receiver. If the receiver comes from a different culture, it is not smart to go for a standardized approach like emails. In order to ensure effective communication, one-to-one communication through any methods would be appropriate. Another factor is the importance of keeping record. If it is important to keep records, then the best approach would be written communication. As you can see from professional practices, contracts or complaints or any other serious issue is always kept in writing. And lastly, the importance of feedback. If it is important to get feedback, then verbal method would be, of course, the most appropriate one. Other two methods do not offer feedback, so verbal communication would definitely be the best approach in this particular scenario. And that's all that we have in this part of the lesson. We'll continue next with the last part of the lesson that talks about communication barriers.